Get in the know. Non-stop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com. Purple Daily, presented by Surly Brewing Company.
Wah wah. Well, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all of you who consume Purple Daily and have stumbled into a Christmas Day edition of Hottest Vikings Takes. Before we go any further, we're going to need Judd to put on one of his elf hats. Judd is.
Take off your headphones. Yep.
Can you hear us?
Hold on a second. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yep. Hold on.
Okay. Judd, by the way, still in the press box. He spent Christmas Eve just grinding work for you guys.
It is.
He spent Christmas Eve in the press box. He's still there.
I've
Jingle
been in
Judd.
numerous press box. I don't need to speak for all three of us, but I've been in many press boxes. If there's one to be stuck at, I think my first choice might be U.S. Bank Stadium.
Oh, it's a very nice press box. It's like an apartment.
Yeah.
Are they giving you guys like Christmas cookies or anything? Are they?
No, I don't think they. I mean, they've got a great spread, and for
really good spread.
For Sunday noon starts, it's a breakfast spread that includes a full omelet bar.
Oh.
And then at halftime, it's like hot dogs and chicken nuggets and a huge spread of desserts. It's tough to put yourself away. But
it's a holiday. You got jolly old Saint Nick Mullins throwing interceptions all over the place. They should be at least taking care of the people that had to endure that.
Oh, yeah. No.
Ugly and sometimes emotionally tormenting performance.
Yeah, let's just say I think most teams in town now charge for the pregame at least spread, and the Vikings do not. So they take very good care of the assembled media.
That's great. You know, they will charge you for food at Quick Trip, but the deals are great. And if you're road tripping around Minnesota, upper Midwest, Wisconsin, I know I'll be stopping at some Quick Trips this week. Quick Trip is the official presenting sponsor of Purple Daily here before we get to our hottest Vikings takes.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, too, that's great. I mean, it is your, as I continue to say, one-stop shopping. You know, you got the gasoline guarantee, which is fantastic, especially in the winter months. You've got the Karuba coffee. You also have specials on things that you can have for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. How about this? The Quickery Classic White Dinner Rolls, 2 for $2. Mm-hmm. The Kitchen Cravings Summer Sausage, might not be summer, but it can feel like it, 2 for $7.50. The Quickery Cookies, a 4-count, $1.99 or 12 count for $4.99. And of course, gift cards. Don't forget that you can pick up quick Trip gift cards, always making for great stocking stuffers and or just a nice thing to have. So Quick Trip is the place that you want to stop. And as Phil said, if you're on a road trip, Quick Trip, you get in and out quick.
Who wants to go first with their hottest Vikings take? Does anyone have a?
I went last week, so I'll defer. I'll defer to you two.
I'll go.
Okay. You want to go,
Phil?
Okay.
Go.
Yeah, it's up. You go ahead. Fire away.
I'll go ahead here. My hottest take, not first. It's my only hottest take. I do not have a second hottest take.
No, it's the first take on the show.
Yeah, right. But here's my hottest
first take. That's a good name for a show.
We should. Yeah, that's good.
That's what we should call our new show.
Someone should call a sports talking head show first take. Be good.
All right, so my hottest take is this. Regardless of the Vikings making the playoffs, I don't trust Brian Flores' defense. I don't trust this.
Wow.
I don't trust this.
2 weeks and we've already turned on B-Flow.
Their ineptitude in the fourth quarter is enough here. There's enough here. Yeah, Drake Browning did it. Jared Goff did it. And the first few weeks of the season, I knew the defense was getting acclimated, but they weren't good then either. Their good stretch run, go look back at it. Go look at the quarterbacks they had to stop. Are any of those guys scaring you? Are any of those guys the ones you have to stop in the playoffs? And, of course, when you get to playoff football, you're obviously going to be playing the better quarterbacks. I totally get that. But I don't trust Brian Flores' defense in crunch time. I certainly don't trust it in the fourth quarter. And even if the Vikings are able to squeeze into the playoffs here, which is still mathematically possible, I do not trust Brian Flores' defense in the fourth quarter of a wild card game or any playoff situation. So my hottest take, I do not trust Brian Flores' defense in crunch time. That's my hottest take.
That's pretty harsh. I mean, they do have a lot of guys down, and we didn't talk about this on Ventline yesterday, but I will say this. Harrison Phillips, that was a gutsy performance. That guy could not run. He was limping on and off the field. And look, I mean, we just expect that, right, from football players. But, I mean, he would literally, like, hobble off, like during a change, so a substitution change, when you're supposed to run off, right? He couldn't. That was a gutsy performance by him.
It felt like he was just on the ground for half the game too, just grinding. At one point, the Vikings stopped the Lions on a 3rd down inside the 5, and he's just like, he's laying down with like the 4th quarter or the 4th down fist up in the air, just
oh yeah, he couldn't. No,
coming out of
he could barely move.
And Mekhi Blackmon too. So DJ Wanham is probably out for the season at this point, right? Cart came out for him, knee, and then Mekhi Blackmon had a bad shoulder going into the game. He had like the shoulder wrap, and he could barely. He was playing with like one arm the whole game, which was weird. But these are all, these are all reasons or excuses or whatever you want to call them. I don't really trust it. I'm not like blaming Brian. Brian Flores has taken this like brown piece of clay or like this like stale old piece of clay.
Yep.
And he has molded it into an artistic masterpiece, but he's almost now a product of his own success in terms of, wow, he built this top 5 defense. Now the last 2 weeks, it's all kind of coming back down. Yeah. But at the end of the day, he has done more with less than you probably could have ever asked him to do 6 months ago. And now they're kind of leaking at the wrong time with the 4th quarter against the Bengals. And then, I mean, in fairness, the Lions put up 30 points on almost everybody. So he's certainly not the first defensive coordinator to have a hard time figuring out how to stop that offensive attack with those weapons, with that scheme, with that offensive line. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough going into, the Packers game and then the second Lions game feeling like, yep, Beeflo and this defense are going to hold the opponent to 9 points or something crazy. Right.
But what's that Packers game? I mean, is that going to be like 60-1? These defenses, like the Vikings are banged up now and are leaky. I mean, but Joe Barry's defense for Green Bay is god awful, and they won't fire him. Like, I feel like that's just a move that you make because it's going to give you some type of boost to get rid of the guy who's been. I mean, you got done by Carolina. Now you won the game, but you got done by Carolina.
Yeah, Carolina was the game was over, and Carolina winds up scoring 2 touchdowns in like the last few minutes to tie it, and the Packers have to go and kick an emergency. The offense probably thought, our work here is done today. So yeah, who wants to make a stop in the 4th quarter between Packers and Vikings next week?
Correct.
It'll be 14-14 going into the 4th quarter, and there'll just be a game of hot potato going back and forth. I'm torn between 2 takes here. I'm just going to give you my honorary mention take, and then I'll give you my real take here. All right. So
I like it.
My honorary mention take is that for the first time in the Vikings' existence, so 1961, right? For the first time in the franchise's existence, Vikings fans should be jealous of the Lions organization. But I think like after watching that game play out, it's not like a super hot take to say, boy, the Lions are in a better spot right now than the Vikings are. Right. But if you look right now, so first of all, I mean, they're better. The Lions are a better team. They have a better offense. They have better offensive line. Their defense is leaky too. But I feel like they're about 2 high-end defensive players in the draft or free agency away from maybe like running the NFC. And we'll kind of see how San Francisco plays out as they get older. But think about the ages of some of these Lions players, these key players at key positions. Aiden Hutchinson, 23 years old, 6 years younger than Danielle Hunter is right now. Mm-hmm. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 24 years old. Jahmyr Gibbs, 21. Penei Sewell, their star right tackle, 21 years old. Brian Branch, who probably should have had 2 interceptions in that game, 22 years old. And even Jared Goff is only 29. He's probably got 5 years left of his quarterback prime left. And I'm not naming all the players, but I guess that's my honorary mention take, which is there haven't been many times, if any, that Vikings fans should be looking at the Lions since 1960 and say, kind of wish we had that cupboard stocked with all the things that they have.
You're probably going to see, too, how good of a coordinator Ben Johnson is, which he has a good coordinator. I don't mean that because he's going to jump ship. He's going to get a head coaching job. And is he going to, mold Justin Herbert? Like, I feel like that would probably be his best destination, right? Go to the Chargers, get the best quarterback that's available basically from a head coaching vacancy and kind of lift Herbert up and get the Chargers out of this just insane ineptitude that they have found themselves in the last few years. But also, if they lose Johnson, how good is that Lions offense without him? Because he's clearly a really good coordinator and he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, his next stop, it is going to be interesting, because he's probably going to get a job, like you said. is he just a mastermind, great number 2, an offensive coordinator with
Right.
Dan Campbell as a front man? And also, like, regardless of whether or not he is a great head coach, he's going to get a job. And now we're going to see, okay, can Dan Campbell hire someone else to keep that offensive momentum going? Or is it like you see some of these other situations, like Philadelphia lose a coordinator, Buffalo loses last year, Buffalo loses their offensive coordinator, Dable to the Giants, and they're all of a sudden Josh Allen becomes a turnover machine again. But here's my actual hottest take. The Vikings are the softest team in the NFL. So let's start with the running game here, okay? Going into the game, the Vikings were like bottom 5, bottom 6 in rush yards per game. They were averaging just under 4 yards per attempt. Now it's going to be for sure under 4 yards per attempt. But it's a home game. Division hopes are still alive going into this. It's a Christmas Eve atmosphere. It's a whiteout. Here we go. We got energy. We're feeling this thing. We can still beat the Lions at home and win this division, but we have a 4th-string quarterback or a 2nd-string quarterback who's our 4th starting quarterback of the season. What's our game plan? And rather than the game plan being home game, backup quarterback, let's run the ball right down their throats 35 times and make them respond to our physicality. The Vikings run the ball 11 times for 1.5 yards per carry. The Lions on the other side, now the Lions ran like 75 plays overall, so they had a lot of room to run the ball. But the Lions ran the ball on the road 36 times for 143 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns by their running backs right into your soul for 3 hours. And then on the defensive side of the ball the last few weeks, the Vikings, you get out to these leads or you've got a lead in the 3rd quarter, 4th quarter, and the defense just withers and melts and allows chunk plays and plays soft, can't get to the quarterback. So late game defense and complete lack of a running game. The Vikings are just soft, man. And I think based on the circumstances of what you allowed to happen in this game at home, 11 rushes for 1.5 yards per carry, your 4th quarterback throwing the ball 36 times, just being hung out to dry. SAWFT, soft. That's my take.
Yeah. Yep, they were very soft. They were soft, and I don't think it helps. And I think that's true overall, but I don't think it helps too when your quarterback is also weak. And like Nick Mullins, my guy, Kirk Cousins looks like Brady out there comparatively, right? I mean, Nick Mullins is like, I don't want the football anymore. Don't come on.
Well, if you look to real quick, like rush yards per game, and some of this is it's nice to have a mobile quarterback. But right now, here are the top rush yards per game teams: Ravens, Lions, 49ers, Dolphins. You could argue that those are like 4 of the top 6 teams in the NFL. And by the way, Eagles are top 10 rushing. The Browns have said, let's lean into running the football. Joe Flacco's been great, but, and maybe the Vikings don't have the running backs or the offensive linemen for it, but you got to fix that. You're soft. So
that plays off my spiciest take, which is this: Kevin O'Connell should be on the hot seat if the run game and the screen game are non-existent next season. You cannot do this. You cannot do this, and this is on him. This is 1,000% on him. The PFF grades say the offensive line at times this year has blocked absolutely fine for the run game. Because we always said, the offensive line sucks. It's not necessarily.
Booney has kind of poked holes in like the PFF might be over. Let's not pretend like the offensive line needs to be fixed a little bit too. Like Dalton Reisner can't really run block.
But you're not going to. But my point is, you can't abandon it. He is, as we discussed on Ventline, he has established no screen game, and in fact, just said screw it, which is not an option. And to your point, the run game has been way too inconsistent. And if that was sticking with Madison, then guess what, dude? KOC, I know you promised him a job, and I know that you got screwed, or in your opinion, you got screwed by the Patriots and the Jets and all those teams that didn't play you. But the reality is this: you're head coach. You have to make tough decisions. And not having a run game in the NFL is not an option. And not having a screen game is not an option. I think he should be on a hot seat. He is an offensive guy who calls plays, and he literally right now has games where you don't want to call the run, and you don't call the screen for the most part. I think that it should be a mandate that in 2024, You have both of those things at least as options, or you are in trouble, because you cannot just have, hey, we're going to have a passing game. Okay, that's great, but you got to complement it. And this team, and I mean, they failed miserably there. They failed miserably. They talked about improving all of those things, and they have done none of those things. How does this happen? That starts on the desk of the guy that calls plays and is the coach of the team.
So you're to be clear, you're saying he is basically it's a hot seat watch. Is kind of what your take is.
Yeah,
it's not a hot seat warning. It's a hot seat watch.
We can't be here a year from now in a game like this with you saying that the Vikings carried the ball, 11 times. We can't. And look, your quarterback got hurt. That sucks, okay? Extremely unfortunate. But the reality is this. If your quarterback gets hurt and you think that you can only run the ball 11 times with Nick Mullins, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So yes, it's a hot seat watch because it's one of the most important things, and it's not part of your game that you can just abandon it. You can't.
I will tell you too, some of the top offenses in the league, again, it's like you're not wrong about the screens. So the Dolphins, this is coming into the week, the Dolphins have racked up 544 yards on screen passes, 7.2 yards per attempt, no interceptions.
Yep.
The Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes, 530 yards on 88 screen passes, so 6.5 yards per attempt and 4 touchdowns, no picks. The Jaguars and the Niners are two of the best screen pass teams, and even the Lions. The Lions are a good screen pass team, according to the metrics. How about this? The Bengals with Jake Browning averaged 9 yards per screen pass.
That was one of the big things. That was one of the scouting report things. Exactly right.
Yeah. When Josh Dobbs is the Vikings quarterback, they averaged 3 yards per screen pass. When Kirk Cousins was the Vikings quarterback, 5.5 yards per screen pass. But they don't run a ton of screens, and it's not a huge part of them. So
correct.
So,
and it's
hot seat watch.
Well, yeah, you got to figure this out. Like, don't tell me, well, we're going to work on this and then not do it. Mm-hmm. And you know, if you're like, well, we thought that Madison was going to be better. Well, you've had options. Like this is it's not an excuse, and I'm all for cultivating a good vibe in the locker room and for not pulling the plug on guys. But the last time I checked, this is the National Football League, and that means not for long if you're going to have a long leash for everybody. Okay, Kevin? Thank you.
Not for long.
Well, Jerry Glanville for you. You know what this league is? National Football League. That means not for long.
I have another question for you guys here in a moment on this special Christmas Day edition of Purple Daily Hottest Vikings Takes. After we shout out our friends over at Nutrisource, boys. Nutrisource is the official dog and pet food of Purple Daily here. And I know Maya Mackey loves herself. Even on holidays, she likes to stick to the food she knows, which is Nutrisource chicken and rice, her favorite.
Look at all those good dogs. You saw Stella, Maya before. I'm sure that birthday boy Vincent will come up soon, and they all have one thing in common. Nah, not that they love their parents that much. It's they love their Nutrisource, and their parents get them that, and that's why we are popular parents, boys.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it works out great when you can just give your dog's birthday. It's Christmas Eve or Christmas. It's an easier time. You can just get him the Nutrisource treats. You don't have to go all out with the presents. You can just give him some Nutrisource treats. He thinks it's his birthday every day when he gets those Nutrisource treats.
Yeah, I sometimes I'll just wrap a bowl of Nutrisource so that it's like opening a present. It's the same thing that she always eats, just presented in.
I don't care.
Right.
Yeah, no. It's still a treat.
And then she'll eat the paper. NutrisourcePetFoods.com. That's NutrisourcePetFoods.com to find a retailer near you. If you're a human looking to maybe alter your diet or lose some weight in January, we wouldn't recommend eating Nutrisource as a human necessarily, but you can work with Livia to lose weight.
Yes, and you are going to lose weight. I lost right there 40 pounds a couple of years ago. I can tell you right now this program works. We've had a lot of people who watch this show who have contacted Declan, Phil, and yours truly and said, you know what, guys, this works. Well, it absolutely does. And they're going to help you keep the weight off. That's the most important thing. And have I got a holiday offer for you? Right now, you join. First 8 weeks are free. So your first 8 weeks for free. Are you kidding me? You're going to be losing weight. You're going to be doing it for free. Life is good. 855-GO-LIVEA. Livia.com. Inside or outside the state. The whole thing can be done virtually too. Livia, LIVEA.com.
Boy, if you're looking at the injured list right now and you're saying, man, look at all these. You got knees, you got shoulders all over the place. Summit Orthopedics is here to help the injured. If you're dealing with any type of pain, No referrals are needed, and Summit Orthopedics offers same-day appointments. If you're really hurting, they also offer walk-in orthopedic urgent care 7 days a week starting at 8 a.m., 25 locations in the Twin Cities and greater Minnesota. You can learn more at summitortho.com. That's summitortho.com. Give me a silver lining, boys. We do nitpicks when the Vikings win to keep it balanced, and we do silver linings when the Vikings lose. They are under 500 now, which is a place that hasn't been familiar to them for several weeks. They're 7-8. They've fallen out of playoff positioning.
Yep.
Give me a silver lining.
For me, it's just when you have Justin Jefferson in this offense, almost anything can happen. I mean, when they lost Hawkinson and Addison about midway through the third quarter at that point, Addison went down near the first half, and then Hawk was out shortly after that. You kind of saw the Vikings offense stall a little bit, but then he makes the miraculous play on, what was that, a 3rd and 28?
Yeah.
Yep.
Just insane.
Unbelievable catch.
It was like the Buffalo play, but longer,
exactly.
right?
It was the exact same style, the Buffalo Bills catch nearly, where he had 2 guys draped all over him, he hauls it down. What he can bring to that offense when your running game is either abandoned or not working, or if you're losing, guys to injury, Justin Jefferson can make just a huge difference with the 4th quarterback coming in for the Vikings. It doesn't matter who it is. If JJ's on the field, he's going to make his impact for the Vikings. So I'd say that's my silver lining.
Mine is the Christmas time dedication to the great game of football by one Jordan Hicks, who came back from a catastrophic, or what could have been a catastrophic leg injury, which could have
just, you were going to
to
say by
clear,
yourself for showing up to that game.
No. I like being here. No, I like being here. I like being here. And a year from now, I'm telling you right now, Christmas Day, I guarantee the Wolves are going to be at home, and I will be there because I love Christmas Day sports. Yes. No, but Jordan Hicks played after, that was nearly, and thank God it didn't end up being this bad, in part because of the work of the Vikings medical staff, nearly an amputation, or could have been an amputation situation. Jordan Hicks goes out there and plays well, forced a fumble that wasn't called. It was called back, questionable call. The officials certainly, in my opinion, didn't decide this game, but they also didn't have a great day. But Jordan Hicks, shout out to you. A lot of guys, I think, at his age would have said, you know what, I'm not going to be playing for the rest of this season. He not only did, but impacted the game. I know that the Vikings lost, but that is a Christmas Day silver lining for me, Jordan Hicks, because some guys love the game that much.
Yeah. I would say, my silver lining kind of piggybacks off of my hottest take from last week's loss to the Bengals, in which I told you that was a great loss for the Vikings, because it crystallizes the path a little bit more here, that you don't need to scrap your way to these. Like, definitely keep fighting and definitely keep building the culture of never quit. I don't want these guys to quit on the coach, because then now you've got like 30,000 foot problems and, franchise organizational problems. But if they were to fight their asses off and just succumb to injury and backup quarterbacks and interceptions, but at the end of the year, you feel like, man, we never quit. God dang it, we lost our last 4 games, but we don't quit in this culture, right? And so my silver lining is the Vikings have moved up 8 spots in the draft since like a week ago. And Tankathon has updated their mock draft in real time here, boys. Real time.
I want a mock!
We have a mock draft with the Vikings picking 14th, which is the highest we've seen them pick in like a month and a half on these mocks. And I'll just fly through it here for you, okay? If they lose a couple more games, again, fighting spirit, don't quit, don't get beat 63-14 like Brandon Staley or whatever that was, 63-21. Keep fighting. But it'd be nice if you didn't have to trade up 10 spots to get a quarterback, right, and give up draft capital. It'd be nice to maybe pick 12th or 10th. So Caleb Williams, number 1 to the Bears. Drake May, number 2 to the Patriots. Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Cardinals at 3. Jaden Daniels, the 3rd quarterback off the board, to the Giants at 8. And with the 14th overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, according to Tankathon's update, the Minnesota Vikings select, out of Florida State University, 6'4", 250-pound monster edge rusher, Jared Verse.
I want a mock!
What quarterbacks are they passing on?
Ooh, there's a second round here. Let's keep scrolling.
Oh,
boy.
boy.
Before we say goodbye. So they have no. Oh, okay. The next quarterback off the board is Bo Nix to the Buccaneers at 19.
Okay, that's fine.
And then there's no other quarterbacks in the first round. So let's get into the second round here, where J.J. McCarthy goes 42nd to the Raiders, and that puts the Vikings back on the clock at pick 45. Where with the 45th pick,
Penix still
Minnesota Vikings select out of the University of Washington, 6'3", 216-pound left-handed quarterback Michael Penix Jr.
I want a mock.
All right, Brian O'Neill, you got to stay healthy.
I want to.
But don't come back the rest of these games. Get
just
healthy
take-
for
No,
next
just
year,
stay healthy
right?
next year.
Sit-
Yeah,
sit this one
yeah,
out.
and just
Yeah.
stay in the lineup next
That's
season.
fine.
Yep,
Okay.
Totally fine.
yep. I love it.
So there you have it. Tankathon live updates.
Hey, shout out. Now, there was no appropriate place to do it, so we did not get him on the board. But anyway, Teddy Bridgewater's last National Football League game in any capacity on the sideline with the Lions on Sunday. Shout out to one of the great what ifs, what could have beens. He's retiring, and I think he deserves that because it's still one of the saddest endings to. And I'm not saying I don't no idea. He might not have been great, and I know a lot of people didn't like him that much, but it still was a first round draft pick, and it still was like what the Vikings saw as their future at the time.
Well, and I think as a human, at least from afar, like a beloved figure in recent Vikings memory.
Loved by
right?
his teammates, right? That's what Boone said, right?
Yes.
So shout out Teddy.
Yep. A great leader behind the scenes and all those things. So there you have it. And a shout out to you guys, the audience, for just making this a blast every day on Purple Daily. Hopefully you're enjoying some downtime during the holidays. Judd putting on his backup elf hat now. Is this your backup elf hat?
He's got to
Is this your backup?
because he's.
Here's my other one.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, give it a little head wiggle.
You can hear him.
Jingle
There you
Judd.
go.
There you go. Jingle all the way. Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Happy
Merry
holidays. And a shout out to our friends at Federated are here for business owners. And we appreciate the audience. We appreciate all of our partners and sponsors who keep the lights on here 365 days a year on Purple Daily. Federated's culture is grounded in equity, integrity, teamwork, and respect. And those are the four cornerstones that create the foundation that supports all of their interactions and decision making. So thank you to Federated for helping us, for helping business owners around the country. Based in Owatonna, they are one of us since 1904. Federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours. And that's a wrap on Hottest Vikings Takes. Are you trying to get those to jingle again, or?
Yeah, they're jingling.
They're not as bad. I messed with your mic settings halfway through this episode, so the white noise gets cut out a little bit at US Bank.
So
it makes sound a little
It
bit.
eliminates the
makes your own
jingling,
a little bit
too.
better,
I'm
but
surprised
it
you didn't
limits-
do that an hour and a half ago.
Just bang the mic on the bells.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. You can hear it now.
That's right. We are professional broadcasters here on Purple Daily. Daily Vikings entertainment. Happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas.